Hi everyone, it is Wednesday, October 7th, 2015, and this is episode 39. For some reason I can never remember. Episode 39 of Serenova Crafts. I'm your host, Jessica. If you are a new viewer, thank you for watching. I appreciate it very much. If you are a returning viewer, I also appreciate it. Thank you very much. And if any of you would like, subscribe, comment, that's all really, really appreciated as well. Sorry, I seem to have cat hair in my eye this morning and it won't go away. So if I keep touching that eye, I apologize in advance, especially as I go and touch it again, because that's a thing. But anyways, I swear I don't talk about my eyes all the time. I really appreciate it, the likes, the subscribes, the comments. Show notes can be found in the Ravelry group in the thread for this episode or on my blog, which is myknittinglife.wordpress.com. I can also be found on Twitter and Ravelry as Serenova and on Instagram as Serenova_Phoenix. I actually just ordered business cards and I'm supposed to be here today because I'm going to Rhinebeck next week and I'm planning to go to both the Ravelry meetup and the podcaster meetup, which they're both in the same place. The Ravelry meetup is at noon and the podcaster meetup is at 1. And instead of having to try and give my phone number or my email, whatever, to just keep repeating myself over and over again, I thought business cards would be a good way to go, here's my info if you ever want to contact me. Hi, business card, here, take. I got 500 of them. Not that I'm going to need 500 of them, but I did get 500 of them. They're supposed to get here today, so I'll show them to you next week, because they're supposed to arrive today, because UPS handed the box off to the post office yesterday, so they're supposed to get delivered today. Fingers crossed. I have some knitting for you, but I also have a few other things for you. If you can't notice the stack of books, I will talk about that in a little bit. Some of these are now mine, some of these are library books. The big thing is I finished my Ginny's cardigan. Now the Ginny's cardigan pattern is available in the unofficial Harry Potter Knits from Interweave. It's one of their special edition magazines. I don't have my physical copy here with me. That's at my mom's. So I can't show you the cover, though I will link it in the show notes. I'll link to the Ravelry listing for the, magazine, so you can see all the patterns in it. As opposed to link to Interweave, where you can't see all the patterns in it. But I will link to Ravelry and the pattern list. It's the sweater that's on the cover that the redhead is wearing, because it's supposed to be Ginny Weasley. But I did finish it. It's actually hanging on the chair behind me. I actually sewed the buttons on last night on the Two Tangled Skeins VKN. Hadn't been on the VKN for a few weeks because of Dungeons & Dragons. Our game is normally on Tuesday nights. But this week, schedules just didn't work out for about half of our group. And so, I was actually able to go on the VKN, which was nice. And I was sitting there, I was talking about the buttons. I showed them the buttons. I showed them the sweater. I'm like, I really should sew the buttons on. And then I proceeded to work on my sockhead hat for the next hour. And then I'm like, I'm going to sew the buttons on. Because I was on the VKN and we'd been talking about it. And so, thank you guys for motivation for sewing the buttons on my sweater. The one issue with this sweater, and I am debating whether to undo it and redo it, is the bind off on the neck. I did it a little too tightly. In terms of wearing the sweater, that's easily solved by not buttoning the top button. So it's not that big a deal. But if I do want to button the top button for some reason, it's very tight. I'll just show you. I'll take this one off. This is my Benton cardigan, by the way. I did this. Oh, when did I do this? I did this a while ago. A bunch of us made them at my local shop, but remember, it's got all the cabling on the front. It's nice and warm and squishy, and it's, I'm trying to remember what yarn it is. I can't even remember what yarn it is. Oh my god. It is not my morning. And yet, before I podcasted, nope, wrong way. Box of files. I was organizing box of files before I started podcasting this morning. So I've been up and doing stuff and thinking and, It's been one of those weeks. Couple of weeks, actually. I finally went through my email yesterday after letting it sit since Thursday of last week. had like 400 emails. I was just like, oh, I can't even do this. Here it is. Benton cardigan. It doesn't even have a finished the picture of me on my project page wearing the Benton. I haven't woven the ends in. I haven't knit the button band on yet. It's Malabrigo Rios, which is a worsted weight. And the pattern is from New American Knits. Anyways, I finished the Ginny. So I am going to put the Benton down and put the Ginny on. By the way, the Adopt a Greyhound shirt is my aunt's adoption group in Florida. They're called Holly Dogs. They have a Facebook group and stuff. The arms are a little tight on this. I did wet block it. So what it is that after I recorded on Wednesday, after I recorded on Wednesday last week, because I did in fact record on Wednesday last week. It was the week before that I recorded on Tuesday. I finished the ribbing that evening. I finished the button bands that evening. Button bands. Finished those that evening. And, and I'll throw my hair up into a bun so you can see the back, because I'll stand up and turn around for you, so you can see it. So I finished the button bands that evening, and then Thursday, so this is October 1st, I wet blocked the sweater. Now, it didn't actually dry completely until about Saturday. Even though I unpinned it on Friday afternoon. So I wet blocked it Thursday night going into Friday, because during the day on Thursday I was kind of working because I kind of have a job to do. And so on Friday when I unpinned it to go to knitting, it was still a little damp, but it was stable enough that it wasn't going to like undo the blocking if I unpinned it. So it's a little wrinkly, because again it kind of sat in a bag while it was still a little damp, but it's nothing that, you know, a spray bottle and spreading it out won't fix. So, sorry, I was looking at something real quick. I had a notification pop up. I apologize. Outlook decided to disconnect itself from the internet. I'm just like, reconnect. Anyways. I'm all over the place this morning. I swear I took my medication. I swear. Hasn't kicked in yet. Anyways. So I got the buttons. And I'm going to move my tea so I don't knock it over onto my work laptop, which is on the desk. I'm going to push the keyboard in. Hence the jiggle. And here are the buttons. I thought they're nice, and they do fit through the buttonholes, and I matched them up. But as you can see, if I was to button the top button, it's tight. It's not so tight that I'm like choking, but it's tight. And there isn't a lot of give in the cast off I used, even though it's supposed to be a stretchy one. So here it is. It's actually not, now that I'm wearing it, like, because last night when I tried it on, it seemed tight. I don't like stuff that's too tight, but it's not bad. So let me button it, and then I will stand up and turn around for you. So, yeah, but as on the VKN, I was sewing the buttons on last night, and I used the leftover yarn. And where did I toss it? I had it. Ah, there it is. By the way, I'm wearing Hufflepuff pants, because that's the kind of person I am. I wear Hufflepuff pants. This is how much yarn I had left. I had about half a skein left, which amazes me. I got this sweater out of 2.5 skeins of the yarn. And see, it's pulling up here. It's pulling. See that? It's pulling. Because I'm actually very broad-shouldered. I did do a couple modifications on the sweater. I did not do the pockets, first of all. I did not put the pockets on, because the pockets on this sweater are knit separately and sewn on afterwards, and I don't like those kinds of pockets. I feel like they're not supported enough by the sweater itself. I would rather have a pocket where the opening to the pocket is where you put stitches on holders, and then you cast on the stitches, and then you have a hole, and then you put the pocket on the inside. I feel it's a sleeker look, and it looks better, and I just don't like the pockets that this sweater was supposed to have, so I didn't do them. Simple as that. I also did the sleeve length slightly different than what the pattern says. The pattern says for my size to do like 19 inches. What I did was I held the sleeve, I started knitting the sleeve, and I like it to come over the heel of my palm, like this. Like it to come down over the heel of my palm. Though the sleeves are a little shorter, but anyways, see? Heel of palm. So what I do is I try this, sorry, you can see my watch through the thick. Actually, I'm going to take that off because it needs to charge. But so what it is that the sleeves are knit cuff up. So it's easy enough to just keep trying them on until at the point they need to be to add them into the sweater, and they're the length I like. So I didn't knit to the, sorry, I'm looking for a charger to plug in my Fitbit because the battery's low. So I should plug it in, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to keep talking to you while I plug it in. So what it is that, like I said, I like my sleeves a little longer. So that's what I did. I'm going to charge. Plugged in. Stop buzzing. It's finicky. So I did that, and then instead of knitting, it says to knit, after the armpit, it says to knit 3 inches. But I noticed that on my other Ginny, which I have here, knitting that much made the sweater sit to, all the bust shaping and everything sit too low on me. So I only did 2 inches instead of 3 inches. Actually, I probably should have done 1.5 inches. But I'm not going to rip out the neck and undo any of that because that's just not going to happen. But so because this one, you can see that the armpit is a lot farther down on this one. So, buzzed at me. I don't know why it buzzed at me. But so this one is my first one. And it still fits, and it's comfy, and I love it, and it's great. But there were a few fit issues that I kind of adjusted as I knit this one. And again, like knitting, which one do I want to do? So, you know, the armpit, it says to knit 3 inches. I only did 2, again, because short torso and all that jazz. I did the buttonholes differently than what the pattern said. The pattern said to what it was to do a knit 2 together and then cast on 2 stitches and then do a slip knit to do the buttonhole. And I thought that made the buttonhole too small because I knew I wanted bigger buttons. Now on my other one, the buttons are small, and having a small buttonhole is totally fine. I'm buttoning up the purple one so I can hold it up next to me, so I'm talking while I do this. So that's why I'm looking down. And not at you. I apologize. So instead of doing that, so instead of doing the cast on 2, what I did was I did a double yarn over. And then on the way back, because of where I placed the buttons in the ribbing, I did a purl 1 knit 1 or a knit 1 purl 1 depending on where it was in the ribbing, so that I had a nice big buttonhole for nice big buttons. And the sweater is actually shown with fairly large buttonholes, not fairly large buttonholes, fairly large buttons in the interweave sample in the magazine. And I actually liked the look, though they had wooden buttons, and these obviously aren't wooden. I don't even know what they are. I think they're shell or something, but I liked the look. And on Friday at my local shop, I pulled out like 5 different buttons that I liked, that there were enough of them for this sweater. And so I kind of laid them, I kind of folded the sweater so the back was showing, and I laid the sweater on the coffee table at the shop, and I kind of asked for a consensus. And I was leaning towards these anyways, but I wanted to see what all the other ladies thought, and the consensus was the buttons I liked, so those are the ones I got. So, now that this is buttoned, I can hold this up next to me. So, you can see now I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to, yes, I'm wearing Hufflepuff pants, I said that. So, I didn't block the button bands quite evenly, because I didn't pin them, and so I might re-block it before Rhinebeck. But you can see how this one's longer. This one actually stretched when I blocked it out more. And you can see in the front how far down the shaping is when I hold it up to me. The shaping's like down here, where it should be, you know, up here. And so let me turn around and show you the back of the sweater. And I put my hair up in a bun so you'll see it. So there's the back. There's the back. And I'm happy with how it came out. Though wearing a white shirt under a gray sweater means you can't see the lace too well. But you got to see my Hufflepuff pants. That's something, right? So I'm going to keep the sweater on, actually, because I'm quite comfortable wearing it. Because it's a little cool in the apartment. But I am, however, going to undo this top button because I do feel like it's choking me. That's better. Much more comfortable now. And I'm going to take my hair out of the bun before it starts sliding down my neck because my hair doesn't like staying in a bun. So that is my Ginny cardigan and all the mods and stuff I did to it, which actually, the mods aren't terribly extensive. It's just a few little details here and there that I was able to adjust to me as I knit the sweater, simply because I'd already knit it once before. So, after rambling on about my sweater for, oh my god, 15 minutes. Well, not quite 15 minutes, but I got 15:10 on my counter there. So, as for whips, I have two that I've been working on. One is those fingerless mitts for Springtide Farms. Since I still have the sweater, I'm going to pull sleeves up a little bit. So I finished one. Here's one. You can see the lace panel on the back of the hand there. And I am on this part. So on the cuff, there's this lace that goes all the way around on the cuff. So I am on that part on the second one. And I left a big long tail so that I can fold up and do the picots, because I didn't leave a long enough tail to do the picots without having to cut another piece and then use it to sew. So I left a really long tail this time, so that I could just sew the picots because to do the picots on this, you fold over the edge of the piece and then you sew it on the inside. You can see it at the top here. See that? So that's how that works. So I'm on, about that far along. But this is quite easy, and I'll probably finish it by tomorrow, I'll say, because I have some stuff to do this evening, so I won't have as much time as I normally do to knit this evening, but I will finish them before the end of the week, and then I have one more thing to knit for them, which I am planning to finish before Rhinebeck and get in the mail to them. I'm actually a little behind on that, unfortunately. I am a little behind, but I have the one thing, and then I have one more scarf to knit, and that scarf won't take me terribly long at all, because it's only about 28 stitches wide, and it's just use the whole thing, and if I just sit and knit on it for a few days, it'll happen, because there's only, about 200 yards in each ball, but it is lace weight, so it'll be a thin scarf, but thin and long. It's more of a fashiony scarf than anything. So, that's one whip, and then the other whip I've been working on is my soft head hat, and I actually finished the ribbing, and I have started on the main body of the hat. Now, the ribbing is extra long, because I want to be able to fold it over 3 times. So I want to be able to, because this is 6 inches. So the sock head hat, this is a free pattern, so I'm not giving anything away, is 4 inches. And actually, I have my first one in my purse. Or I had the first one in my purse. I guess I took it out. Oh, well. Must have worn it. And then took it out. And then, oh, yeah, it's on the couch. Oh, whatever. It'll be fine. So anyways, the ribbing is only supposed to be 4 inches. I did 6 so that I could fold it over twice. So fold it over twice and still have nice thick over my ears. And then I'm going to knit the body of the hat. It says 9 inches in the pattern. I'm going to do 10 and then do the crown decreases. So it'll be a little baggy and so it'll be a little longer overall. So my marker, because my start of the row is over here, you can see here's the beginning of the row. But here's how much I've knit since the last time you guys saw it, last week. So I've knit that much since last week on it. Stupid needle. There we go. So I've knit that much. So now I'm going to move the marker. And actually I'll put a marker in the fingerless mitts before I knit any farther on those. But I am going to put the marker in this because it's right here and it's in front of me and the marker's actually in it. I took the marker out of the fingerless mitts because, well, I finished the one that the marker had been in and I saw no point in leaving it in because I finished it. So now I need to put a marker in the second one. And this is not working. Come on, you silly thing. If I think it's because it's where it is on the needle, I'll just leave it and I'll stick it in when I get to that point on the... So I do it at the beginning of the round. I put the marker in at the beginning of the round, so... do I have a marker here on the desk? No, I do not. I put them away. They're in my thingy. This is the let me grab everything and everything without stopping the recording episode today. Maybe I'll just call this episode grabbing stuff or something. Because that's what I've been doing. So, but yay, marker, yay, marking. I really like the idea of progress markers, and it's been a lot easier to show you folks, my progress on the stuff since I started using progress markers. I don't know why it took me like 35 episodes to use progress markers, because I've been seeing other podcasters use them since I started watching podcasts, which was a significant amount of time before I started podcasting. And so, see, now this is going to bug me that I can't get it in. And so now I'm going to sit here and try to get it in while I talk to you folks. And of course, I dropped the bag with the... Welcome to my world! So I don't know why it took me so long to use these. I honestly have no clue why I didn't use them before. Oh, it'll be one row lower, whatever. Close enough. One row off is no big deal for showing you folks, because you can't really tell on your screen anyways. Where's my... Oh, the label... Oh, whatever. I'll look for the label later. So, those are my 2 whips. My finished object. My mom and I have put in our reservation for the rental car to go to Rhinebeck because, like I mentioned last week, we decided that we didn't want to put the miles on either of our new cars. And so I can bring my tea back over here now, especially because my throat's getting dry because I've been talking so much. By the way, and I'm totally serious about this, if I am talking too fast, sorry, food flag. If I am talking too fast, you don't understand me, you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I promise I won't get offended. I promise not to get mad. I appreciate questions. I have a Q&A thread in the Ravelry group. It's an AMA style, ask me whatever. I'll either answer them in the thread or on the podcast or a bit of both, like give you a short answer there and a long answer here. But seriously, if I'm talking too fast, if you have questions about something I say, if I don't link something in the show notes and you want to know what it is, tell me, ask me, send me a private message, comment on the thread, leave a comment on my blog, whatever. I don't care how you contact me, but feel free to contact me. Feel free to friend me. Feel free to check out any of my other accounts I have linked on my Ravelry page. Seriously, I don't mind. Knitters are a great group of people. I'm not worried about any of you stalking me. It's totally cool. Feel free to ask me questions. I'll even respond to YouTube comments. Like, seriously, feel free to ask me questions. I think the one thing I'll never do is get this on iTunes unless I start making more money because it costs to have hosting services to then go to iTunes because iTunes won't pull from YouTube because Apple and Google don't really get along. So unfortunately, I probably won't do iTunes. I've looked into doing iTunes and it's so complicated and annoying that I just said screw it and I'm not doing it. But anyways, seriously, if you have questions, comments, if I talk too fast, because I know I can get talking extremely quickly sometimes, but I don't know when to stop myself. So just, if you want me to slow down, tell me and I'll put like sticky notes on my monitor to remind me to slow down. Just seriously, I do not mind. Tell me. Anyways, after getting sidetracked, my mom and I are renting a car for Rhinebeck. My mom is coming, so there's 4 of us. So there's Jen, the Young Creative Crafter, Donna from my local yarn shop knitting group. She also comes to the Tuesday group at Barnes & Noble when school's not in session because she works in the schools here in town. So it's my mom and I, Jen, and Donna. And so instead of me driving the whole time, because both my mom and I are going to be listed as drivers on the rental car, we are going to share off driving. So Donna and Jen don't have to drive. I already agreed with Donna she wasn't going to drive at all, and Jen doesn't, it seems like Jen doesn't want to drive. Jen, if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but it seems like you don't want to drive. So my mom and I are going to trade off on the driving. So we're probably going to end up leaving at about 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, because Rhinebeck opens at 9 a.m., and then we'll probably leave at 5 when Rhinebeck closes. I do have a short list of places I want to go. One place is the Yarn-It booth, because I want a Yarn-It. I am determined to have a Yarn-It by the end of Rhinebeck. I also want to go to the Miss Babs booth, because I've never seen her yarn in person. I might not buy it, but I want to see it. I also want to go to the Jenny the Potter booth, because, again, I've never seen her stuff in person, and I might not buy anything, and I probably won't get a Rhinebeck mug, because that line starts, like, 2 hours before that line starts, like, before the fair opens, kind of thing. Excuse me, I'm going to have to cut here because I'm going to have to blow my nose. So, excuse me for a moment. I apologize for that. I just cut the video there. I just cut out me blowing my nose because I sound like a foghorn. So I just want to see the Jane the Potter booth. Again, I might not buy anything, but I do want to see it. And I want to go to the Dirty Water Dye Works booth. Not because I haven't seen her yarn before, not because I've met her before, but my Rhinebeck sweater is made out of her yarn, and I want to show her. So those are my 1, 2, 3, 4 definite goals for Rhinebeck of places to get. And the rest, anything on top of that is kind of gravy. But I'm determined to leave with a yarn. Now, whether I leave with any yarn, which I probably will, I probably will, but I'm determined to leave with at least a yarn. Maybe some buttons, maybe some stitch markers. If I could find a booth selling signature needles, I might come home with a pair of those. I've always wanted a pair. And I know what size I would get because I use it so much. I actually went through my Ravelry projects, and I did an advanced search in my projects, and I looked at what needle size had the most projects, and there's 2, and they're almost tied. A US 1 and a US 6. Now, the US 1s are all my socks, and, and I'm very happy with my Chow Glues for those. So, what I'm going to do is if I find a place selling signature needles, I'm going to get a pair of straights in size US 6. And that's what the millimeters is. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it down. Because I've knit a lot of shawls on the 6s. And so that's a size I use a lot, and I can use the straights, and so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to talk about books for a minute. You can skip to the end if you don't want to hear about books, because all my links and the spelling of like my username and everything are in the credits. So I'm going to rant on about books for probably another 10 minutes. But before I do that, actually, I'm going to say that Simchat Torah was Tuesday, was yesterday. And Simchat Torah is when we Jews celebrate the Torah. And what it is, so every year we read the whole Torah. Now, that's both a true statement and a not true statement, and let me explain. The Torah is split into 52 portions, one for each week of the year. Or, well, not quite 52, I think it's 50. Actually, I'm just going to Google that right now so that I can tell you, because the secular calendar and the Jewish calendar have a slightly different number of weeks because of the way one is a lunar and one is a secular. So there are 54 Torah portions. And because our calendar is 54 weeks, which is why every couple of years we add in an extra month, which is actually why Easter and Passover don't overlap this coming spring. Easter is in March, and Passover is at the end of April, because we have 2 months of Adar this year. We have Adar 1 and Adar 2. I know. We can't name the month something different, we just have to have 2 of the same month. It's just Adar 1 and Adar 2. But anyways, there's 54 portions, and each portion is split into 3 pieces. And conservative and reformed Jews use a triennial cycle. Now, if you are Orthodox, Hasidim, anything that's more observant than conservative Judaism. And conservative Judaism has nothing to do with conservative politics. I'll just clear that up right there. Same word, completely different meaning. Anyways, conservative Jews and reformed Jews use a triennial cycle where we read 1/3 of the Torah portion every week. So it takes us 3 years to read the whole Torah. But we do read a portion of all 54 portions every year. So Simchat Torah is we finished the last book of the Torah, and we are going all the way back to the beginning of Genesis and reading Breshit, which is the first chapter of Genesis. So, now, I never remember which names are which because there's both the English names and the Hebrew names for the books of the Torah, and so I never actually remember which book is which because I get confused because the English names for the books of the Torah are Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. But the Hebrew names are Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, and Devarim. So, like, I never remember which ones. There's the only two I get right are Genesis and Exodus, and the other three I'm forever getting in the wrong order. But anyways, so we go all the way back to chapter 1 of Genesis and start over again. Now, we might not read verse 1 of Genesis chapter 1 because, again, triennial cycle, and I don't remember where in the cycle we are, but we are reading a third of the first portion of the Torah now. This coming weekend, it's the first, right. So Simchat Torah is where we celebrate the Torah. We actually like, take all the Torahs out of the Ark, and literally people carry them around the sanctuary of the shul dancing. And the klezmer band was there, and we were playing and everything. I managed to get a picture of it all spread out, and I'll put it at the end. It is a panorama, so I'm going to try to have it pan across the shot. I'm not quite sure how to do that, so it might be tricky, so don't hold me to that. It might just be the panorama shot, like as a still, but I'll try to get it to pan. But I took a panorama, because it's long. I mean, you need a football field to roll out the whole Torah, and the scrolls are heavy. Like, the smallest one we have is about 40, 45 pounds, without all the extra decoration we put on it. So the Torah is, you have the scroll, and it's wooden, holders. You have the scroll, which is vellum, and you're not supposed to touch it with your hands, because it can deteriorate the vellum, because it is actually animal skin. Sorry vegans, we use actual animal skin for this, and a special kind of ink, and the oils from human skin can cause it to deteriorate. So when you see people holding the Torah, know that they are wearing plastic gloves. They are not actually touching it with their bare skin. So what we do to protect the Torah is we have a fabric cover that goes over it. I don't have a picture of that, unfortunately. And then we decorate them. We have sterling silver decorations that go on the Torah. We have like a plate and things with bells on the top that go on the handles, because this is a scroll. Think, an actual scroll with, handles that you roll up and everything. And so actually on Monday night when we went to services to celebrate the holiday, I went with my mom, the rabbi actually asked me to hold the Torah during Yizkor services. And that thing is heavy. My upper arm muscle here is still sore 2 days later from holding it for 20 minutes. Because they are that heavy. I actually bounced it, set it on my hip, and I was holding it kind of like this because they're very awkward. Because again, it's about this wide, this high, that big around. It's just awkward to hold, and it's heavy. But anyways, so we did some Torah, and that was fun. And, we dance and we sing, and we don't say a lot of prayers, actually. It's one of the least prayer-y holidays. It's more just sing and dance, and, everyone gets to see and touch the Torah, and blah, blah, blah. So, now that I've ranted about that, now I want to talk about books. Because I went to the library this past weekend, and I also went to, we have an Ocean State Job Lots in town, and I like to go in and poke around just once a month or so just to see what's there. And they usually have some good cookbooks, so I got 2. I got Tales of the Tea Leaf, and this one was on sale, obviously, because it's Ocean State, and it's all about the history of tea, how tea spread, but it does have recipes for stuff made with tea in the second. So the first half of the book is all the history, and the second half of the book is stuff made with tea. Now, a lot of these are drinks, and, drinks with tea in them, but there is, chai chicken, apple cinnamon glazed turkey where you use, an apple cinnamon tea, where, you use the tea as a spice in cooking. And so, and it's got conversion tables and stuff and a resource list, and I thought it was good, and it was half price from normal what I would pay for it, so, I figured why not? How wrong can you go? And then, this one actually has the sticker on it. This is Cooking at Home with the Culinary Institute of America. Essential Techniques and Recipes for Creating Great Food. And this book is a $40 book that I got for $4. So here it is. And it's thick. It's thick and it's all in color. It's got, it's all, so here's the pasta chapter, right? And so what it is that it's not your typical cookbook in that it doesn't immediately jump into recipes in each section. what it does, I'm moving the tea so I can put it down, open, on the desk. So what it does is it tells you, so this is the pasta chapter, right? It starts off with types of pasta, preparing and serving pasta, cooking pasta, how to determine portions, choosing a pot, reheating pasta, how to sauce pasta, how to make fresh pasta, how to make stuffed pasta, how to make pasta dough and tomato sauce, and it tells you all like the techniques and stuff associated with that are about the chapter, and it has illustrations on how to do these things. See, this is the making fresh pasta, right? So, and that's my issue with cooking, is that I will open a cookbook and I will see the recipe and it'll say, let's just switch to, shrimp with curried pasta, right? Recipe right here in the book. I can't eat it because I'm allergic to shellfish, but it's a recipe to use an example, right? It says, heat the oil in the saute pan over high heat, add the shrimp and saute until the shrimp are just cooked through. Well, what is sauteing? Then this book will explain that, because I'm a very basic cook right now. I'm hoping to learn more, but I know basic cookery. I can, make a grilled cheese, make basic pasta. I can cook some chicken dishes, but I don't know a lot of the techniques that recipes just use the word for and don't explain what they are. And this book has the techniques and explains how to do them and what they are. And, the poultry chapter, right? The poultry chapter has types of poultry, how to select poultry, preparing and serving poultry. It's got the best cooking methods for different kinds of poultry. It's got, how to portion a chicken, how to butterfly, how to bone a chicken. Stuff that I don't know how to do because nobody's ever taught me. And so I thought this book was definitely worth the $4. So I say if you find it, pick it up. And the Culinary Institute of America has some really good stuff. It really does. So, but I went to the library before I went to, I went to Ocean State before I went to the library. And so I went to the library. Now, the library has a book sale. So half of the stack that I just pulled, these are now mine. And I got them for 25 cents each. So I spent $1 and I got 4 paperbacks. And some of them are from series and, 3 of them are on the older side. One of them's newer. But, 2 of them are from series I know, and 1 of them is something new. And I'd never heard of this author before, but the book sounded interesting, and it's from, what's the copyright? Some of these have an old copyright. This one's from 93, so it's not that old. Oh, this is the mass market paperback edition from 94, but the book came out in 93, and it's called The Hammer and the Cross. It seemed interesting. It's what if the gods of Asgard challenged Christianity for the future of mankind. Now, I'm not a Christian, but Asgardian gods versus Christian gods, it seemed like an interesting read, right? 865 AD. Warring kings rule over the British Isles, but the church rules over the kings, threatening all who oppose them with damnation. Only the dreaded Vikings of Scandinavia do not fear their priests. Shep, the bastard son of a Norse raider and a captive English lady, is torn by divided loyalties and driven by strange visions that seem to come from Odin himself. A smith and a warrior, he alone dares to imagine new weapons and tactics with which to carve out a kingdom and launch an all-out war between, and then it says The Hammer and the Cross. So, it's a historical fantasy-ish novel with Norse gods and everything. So then, one of the other ones was Heretics of Dune, and it's a Frank Herbert novel, and it's, which one in the series is this? I don't know. It's one of them. Heretics of Dune is, I forget which one this was. Looks like Dune Chronicles. 1, 2, 3. It's the 4th book in the Dune Chronicles because it's Dune, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, and then this is the 5th book, Heretics of Dune. Now, I have Dune, and I'm pretty sure I have Children of Dune. I'm looking at my, I have Dune Messiah, but I don't think I've got Emperor of Dune. I might. It might not be here, though. Some of my books are still at my mom's because I don't have room on that bookcase, and of course I got 4 new books that I have to fit on there, and yeah. But Heretics of Dune, because I really like the Dune stuff. And then, I've seen the movie I don't know how many times, but how could I pass up the novelization, and especially the original paperback edition? Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. It doesn't even say Episode 5 on it, it just says Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. This is before they were numbered, but it's Episode 5. And it's a novelization of Episode 5, so I'm like, hell yeah, count me in. And then this one, One of my friends, I actually posted a picture, I'll put it in at the end, of the books on the floor of the car once I left the library, and I'm like, do not leave me alone in the library for any extended period of time. And one of my friends spotted this book, and it's apparently from the Iron Druid Chronicles. Now, it's a series, but I don't know what it is, but it's Hunted, and it's by Kevin Hearne, Hearne, and it's a semi-modern fantasy novel. It says, for a 2,000-year-old druid, Atticus O'Sullivan is a pretty fast runner. Good thing because he's being chased by not one but two goddesses of the hunt, Artemis and Diana, for messing with one of their own. Dodging their slings and arrows, Atticus Granuaile and his wolfhound Oberon are making a mad dash across modern-day Europe to seek help from a friend of the Tuatha De Danann. I don't know if I'm saying this right. I don't know how to pronounce Gaelic. His usual magical option of shifting planes is blocked, so instead of playing hide-and-seek, the game plan is run like hell. Crashing the Pantheon Marathon is the Norse god Loki. Killing Atticus is the only loose end he needs to tie up before unleashing Ragnarok, aka the Apocalypse. Atticus and Granuaile have to outfuck the Olympians and contain the god of mischief if they want to go on living and still have a world to live in. It seemed interesting, so why not? So I got those four. And then I did borrow some library books. This one's really beat up, but it's a paperback. So I got Stormfront by Jim Butcher, and this is the first book of the Dresden Files. I have not read it yet. I need to start. But I've always been interested in the Dresden Files, and they had the book, so I figured, why not? And then I got a couple other ones that seemed interesting, and these are all, hardbacks. This one's King's Dragon. It's part of a series, but it seems interesting. It's an older book, but, most of the ones... Oh, I'm going to get into camera range here soon. But anyways. And then Witchlight, which is like a modern fantasy as in it's like from the 80s modern fantasy, so it's modern-ish fantasy. Actually 96, so it's like 90s modern fantasy. And then Six Gun Tarot, which seems like an interesting one. This is a newer book. This one's from... Oh, it's only a couple years old. This one's from 2013. And this is like a town in the Old West is populated by, what is it? It's, let's see. The sheriff bears the mark of Venus around his neck. Some say he is a dead man whose time has not yet come. His half-human deputy is kin to coyotes. The mayor guards a hoard of mythical treasures. A banker's wife belongs to a secret order of pirates and assassins, and a shady saloon owner, whose fingers are in everyone's business, may know more about the town's true origins than he's letting on. A haven for the blessed and the damned, Golgotha has known many strange events, but nothing like the primordial darkness stirring in the abandoned silver mine overlooking the town. Bleeding midnight and ancient evil is spilling into the world, and unless the sheriff and his posse can saddle up in time, Golgotha will have seen its last dawn, and so will all of creation. So it's kind of a steampunk fantasy kind of thing, and it seems interesting. So, oh, it didn't quite make it in the camera range, so now I have a stack of books like right on the thing. So, focus. Sorry, I'm trying to get the camera focused. So, that's it. I'll put the couple of pictures in at the end, like I said, of the panorama of the panorama of the Torah, and I will put in the picture from the car with all the books. And I think that's about it. I've actually gone long this time. This episode is almost 45 minutes long. This is one of the longer ones I've had in a while. The thing is that you get me talking about books and I will go on for a long, long time. So, yeah. I think that's it. Sorry, I got another notification. It needs to go away. Yeah, that is it. And it is just after 9. So, I will see you folks next week. It'll be right before Rhinebeck, so I'm probably going to be very excited and chattering like nobody's business, but I will see you then. So I hope you all have a great week. Oh, right, remember, I'm doing a VKN on Thursday nights. Tomorrow night will be a little late because I need to go over my mom's and feed the cats, and I will do the VKN when I get back. So, time will be on the, in the Ravelry group, so feel free to come and say hi. You can be a new person, someone who's been watching for a while. There's about 3 or 4 of us who show up on a semi-regular basis, but feel free to come and join. We're a friendly group, I promise. Nobody's going to say you can't be there. You're all nice people, I swear. What you see is what you get. I'm a chatty Cathy all the time. Anyways, I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next week. It'll be 3 days before Rhinebeck. Yay! Alright, bye! So I forgot to tell you folks one thing. I also bought an Old Farmer's Almanac, because I'm the kind of 20-something who would buy a copy of the Old Farmer's Almanac. Because my grandmother used to buy it all the time, and so now I decided I was going to buy it for myself, and it was only $10, so, you know, why not? So yay! Old Farmer's Almanac. Okay, now I'm done. Hope you guys all have a good week. Bye!